In the world of One Piece, a new haki revelation by Gaban is on the horizon, along with the big secret we've all been waiting for. We can also expect a flashback of the Roger Pirates, as the Holy Knights already had dealings with Scopper back on God Valley. How will Luffy react to all these battles? Luffy, Zoro, and the others must have caught wind of everything by now, and they will definitely get involved in the fight. The potential for major revelations in the next chapter is massive. And if you don't want to miss any new spoilers or One Piece updates, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel and give a thumbs up. Enjoy the video. Let's go! One Piece Chapter 1149 is just around the corner, and this chapter has some serious potential to deliver huge revelations. I mean, Oda kind of opened Pandora's box in the last chapter. We finally got an explanation for the infinite regeneration, and who would have guessed? Of course, it's Gaban who opens that box. Scopper showed brilliantly how to handle the Holy Knights with this power, and that opens the door for Luffy and the others to reach that level too. Let's not forget, Gaban told Luffy and Zoro, "Yo, once all this is over and Elbaf still stands, come visit me," and they will definitely accept that invitation. After all, Gaban is a powerhouse character who could show Luffy, Zoro, and co. what it really means to be on that top tier. Who better than a former Roger Pirate? A Roger Pirate would be capable of such a feat, and that means we might see Gaban in the next chapter sharing some behind-the-scenes insights. He could explain a bit about this regeneration ability, and maybe even how to counter it. That might also mean we'll get a God Valley flashback, tying everything together, especially considering all these little crumbs we've been getting about Rox D. Jebek. I mean, we already had Loki with a brief flashback, and now we might get a short Scopper flashback, or even a General Roger flashback. Rox D. Jebek is a character who's slowly being revealed piece by piece, completing a larger puzzle. While it's likely that Jebek won't play an active role in the current timeline, he still holds many key puzzle pieces necessary to explain crucial plot points, like Haki for example. Gaban must have learned it at some point himself, and he also must have faced the same problem. Enemies like the Holy Knights or the Five Elders being unable to be defeated due to their infinite regeneration. But we know that the Roger Pirates had a relatively successful mission at God Valley. So the question is, will Oda finally show us the full extent of that success? In this possible flashback, we could see Scopper standing against that same problem and how he solved it, ultimately giving us the modern-day explanation of how it all works, what kind of regeneration it is, and what ability lies behind it. I believe Gaban will drop a lot of heavy information in the next chapter. There are already strong theories out there, and some current bits of knowledge can easily be applied to this scenario. Personally, my favorites involve an advanced form of Conqueror's Haki. Just like advanced armament Haki can penetrate the opponent, perhaps advanced Conqueror's Haki plays a key role in countering this regeneration. This leads us to the concept of Rio Haki, or the Rio technique, that we were introduced to on Wano, but this version could be significantly stronger, possibly even tied to Conqueror's Haki. It wouldn't surprise me if Oda continues to logically build everything up, piece by piece. These are techniques and abilities we're already familiar with, and Oda might now be showcasing them in a deeper and more powerful way. We'll also get to see how the Holy Knights react to this major setback or shift in the tide. Personally, I believe the Holy Knights have not yet reached their full potential. That means they'll likely pull out new tricks, maybe even a new Ibis ability. So far, we know of around 3 abilities: infinite regeneration, teleportation, and telepathy, seen especially among the Gorosei as they communicate with each other mentally. But the real question is, are these all the Ibis abilities, or are there more that could make things even harder for Scopper or the Straw Hats? And maybe an even bigger threat appears, going by the name of Figalan Shamrock or Figalan Garling, or perhaps even more backup from the Holy Knights, who could arrive at any moment. That would increase the number of enemies and raise the stakes of the current plotline. New characters and new Holy Knights would naturally mean new Devil Fruits and new powers. And if the Holy Knights currently present on Elbaf aren't even the strongest and more powerful ones show up, then this entire situation becomes even more intense. This whole scenario naturally pushes Luffy, Zoro, and the rest of the crew to step onto the main stage. They'll have no choice but to join the fight now. With all the intense battles going on up there, they'll start to feel it, especially on a Haki level. That said, let's not forget, Luffy and Zoro have already had the pleasure of dealing with Gaban when they fought him, and of course Scopper showcased his Haki during that fight. This might mean that Luffy and Zoro already had a small hint that there are even higher levels of Haki out there. Still, now it's about time, slowly but surely, for Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and the rest to step onto the stage. The danger level is rising steadily. The Holy Knights are being pushed into a corner, which will naturally lead them to take increasingly radical and dangerous actions. Oda may have already built the bridge to this moment. The last time we saw Luffy, he was with Loki, both of them stuffed from eating. However, we didn't see Sanji and Zoro in that panel, which could very well mean that those two are already on the move. Sure, Skopagabean could handle quite a bit himself, but if more Holy Knights show up and the numbers become overwhelming, then having Sanji and Zoro in the fight becomes essential. There's even a good chance that Sanji and Zoro will fight side by side with Skopagaban, and he could actively involve them in an intense battle that doubles as a training arc. It could be a perfect combo, and imagine Zoro and Sanji competing with each other to see who masters this new haki first. That would be hilarious and epic. The real question is, does this new haki require Conqueror's haki as a prerequisite? For Sanji, that's still a pretty unclear topic. Personally, I believe that at some point in the story, Sanji will awaken Conqueror's haki too. But for now, I think we'd all sleep a little better, knowing that Sanji and Zoro are in the mix here. Especially Sanji, who also possesses a form of regeneration. He could make this entire situation even more entertaining, and, more importantly, even more interesting. Because then the Holy Knights would, in a sense, be tasting their own medicine. That would create a super exciting dynamic in terms of the plot. Even if Luffy doesn't actively join the fight right now, which might actually be a smart move by Oda, the future enemies that are likely to appear will probably be far stronger. This gives Oda the perfect opportunity to let the rest of the Straw Hats grow independently from Luffy. Luffy, meanwhile, could focus on the Loki plot, potential flashbacks, and all the info Loki might reveal. That way, Oda keeps Luffy, arguably the strongest character on the island, on standby in case a worst-case scenario unfolds. If someone like Figgle and Garling shows up, Luffy will probably enter the fray too, as the threat level would then be high enough to seriously endanger the Straw Hats. I can easily imagine that Oda is holding him back as a kind of Joker card. I totally understand some fans saying the Elbaf build-up isn't the most exciting so far, but personally I think it makes sense. After all, we've just had the Gorosei as antagonists, so going from that to the Holy Knights may feel like a downgrade, but it's necessary. Necessary in the sense that it allows key questions, like the regeneration ability, to finally be addressed. And now, thanks to Skopagaban, we're slowly starting to get clarity. Most importantly, Skoppa can pass that knowledge on, which will finally give the Straw Hats the ability to fight back effectively. In my opinion, this is just a small Elbaf prologue. The real Elbaf arc will be far more than just defeating the Holy Knights. That's why it seems so likely the Gorosei will still show up. But we'll have to wait and see step by step, chapter by chapter. Personally, I think the next chapter will bring several major reveals. What do you think will happen? Share your predictions in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what ideas you have. I believe the focus will now shift strongly toward this special haki. So let's wait and see which tricks Oda pulls out next. It's definitely going to be exciting. Alright folks, that's it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you don't want to miss any more One Piece content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A thumbs up would be awesome too. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have an exciting day. Take care, and we'll see each other soon. Bye for now.